Do it anyway. This weekend only, buy any bed or bedroom group in any one of our superstores with any Sealy water mattress and make no payments for 1 full year. That's 52 weeks, 365 days, 12 months, 1 full year. But hurry in, because this offer is good only as long as this guy stays tied up.
Nicholasville Road, Lexington, Glenview Plaza, Prestonsburg.
Hollywood's just around the corner at Movie Warehouse. Thousands of choices are waiting here for you. Adventure, excitement, and comedy too. Take your family home to the movies. What are you waiting for? Take your family out to Movie Warehouse. Take your family home to the movies.
One of nature's most precious gifts, each with its own unique cut, color, carat weight, and clarity. If you're shopping for a high-quality diamond, should you be spending more money or getting more information? At London Gold, we're committed to educating our customers and offering them the largest selection of diamond solitaires in Central and Eastern Kentucky.
Elegance you can afford at London Gold.
Across from the State Police Post in London.
You're watching 36 WTVQ Eyewitness News with John Lindgren and Sky Yancey.
2 people have been hospitalized following a fiery crash this afternoon on Leestown Road. According to police, a car driven by 86-year-old Robert Penny was traveling east on Leestown Road when the car left the roadway, struck a rock wall, overturned, and caught fire. Witnesses say 2 truck drivers came to the rescue with their fire extinguishers to put out the flames. Penny is listed in serious but stable condition at Good Samaritan Hospital. His passenger, whose name has not been released, was taken to the UK Chandler Medical Center, where her condition is unknown.
1 year in prison. That's the sentence handed down this morning to former Jessamine County Sheriff Stephen Roy Walker. Walker was found guilty in December of 35 counts of acquiring prescription drugs from area hospitals and emergency rooms. He used deception and misrepresentation to get the drugs. Stacy McKinley has more.
Family members, Sheriff's Department employees, and city officials, including Nicholasville Mayor Sam Corman, were in the courtroom today as a show of support for the former sheriff.
A lot of people are supporting me, and I really appreciate it. You don't know how you appreciate something like that until you go through it. That's all we got. Thank you.
During his trial, Walker claimed his actions were a result of an addiction to painkillers. But in handing down the sentence, the judge said he believes Walker did abuse his position.
Walker's attorney asked the judge to consider probation in this case, but Judge Carl Forrester said because of the number of counts, he could not deviate from the sentencing guidelines, which recommend 6 to 12 months.
I think the judge did what he felt was appropriate under the circumstances, and we're not disappointed with Judge Forrester's sentence. We just feel like that Steve's guilt wasn't proven at trial, and that's why we're taking our appeal.
Despite the controversy, Walker was elected to the Nicholasville City Commission in November. Last month, he offered to step down, but his fellow commissioners refused to accept his resignation. This morning, Walker said he intends to stay on. Walker remains free on bond pending the outcome of his appeal. Stacy McKinley, TVQ Eyewitness News, Lexington.
And Walker's attorney says at this point he's not sure how long the appeals process will take.
Former President Reagan agreed today to give videotape testimony at former aide John Poindexter's Iran-Contra trial. In a court filing, Reagan's lawyers asked that the former president be allowed to give the deposition in Los Angeles on February 15th. That's 4 days before Poindexter's trial is scheduled to begin. Poindexter is charged with conspiracy, obstructing Congress, and making false statements in the Iran-Contra affair.
The trial in connection with the nation's worst oil spill is on hold. No testimony is scheduled in Alaska until Monday. Meanwhile, the judge in the case involving former Exxon Valdez captain Joseph Hazelwood is reconsidering allowing the defense's attorneys to claim government negligence. The defense alleges that Coast Guard monitors were not doing their jobs before last March's massive oil spill, making them, not Hazelwood, responsible for the accident. The cleanup is underway on several beaches in Southern California. Workers armed with sponges and shovels are trying to sop up crude on shores in Huntington and Newport beaches. The oil is only a fraction of the 295,000-gallon spill from the tanker American Trader. Well, up next, we certainly did get that rain that Mark forecast. We'll take a look at our weekend weather forecast after this.
And still ahead, exercise may actually be bad for your heart.
Ted & Sons Body Shop. We're the experts, auto paint experts. Get more for your money from people you trust. We make it look good, that's what an expert should. When it comes to your car, you can count on us. Over 20 years at Ted & Sons. Service was the key that made us #1. Ted & Sons.
Any store can claim low prices, but at Furniture World, they prove them. You get more quality for your furniture dollar every day. Plus, today you'll save to 50% and more on everything that's not being carried over to the 1990 merchandising program. Plus, buy now with no payments and no interest until July. Only at Furniture World. Final clearance going on now at Kentucky's #1 car stereo store. Car radio cassette players from $20. Replacement speakers for your car from $10 a pair.
The local TV stations are critical to our being able to educate the public about what our needs are and the kinds of services that we're providing. So we're very dependent on the community to understand what we're about and then to respond appropriately. So the community keeps us in dollars, in food, and in volunteer resources because the media keeps them informed.
For Valentine tricks and treasures, the Front Porch has the widest selection. Fun gifts for all your sweethearts or that special Valentine. Visit the Front Porch in Chevy Chase, Tate's Creek Center, and Festival Market.
Mark was just saying he has a very exciting weather forecast ahead, or weather report ahead.
Well, that's right. A lot of different things going on. We've got rain and thunderstorms, but we also have sunshine coming up this weekend, too. Mixed in with cloud cover and cooler temperatures. Right now, we have got cloudy skies and 59 degrees. Still very mild thanks to the south winds, right now at 6 miles per hour. Humidity 90%, and the barometer is steady. We were above normal once again today with a high of 59 and a low temperature of 53, even well above what we had last year on the state with a high of 23 and a low of only 5 above zero. So far out of Bluegrass Airport, a little over 1/4 of an inch of rain has fallen, and we are above normal. It has been a wet month of February so far, and we've got more rain on the way. Take a look at the radar right now, and you can see, well, it's pretty quiet across central and eastern Kentucky at the present time. A few scattered showers around, but more concentrated area of rain and thunderstorms to our west. Thunderstorms around the Bowling Green area at the present time. And all this activity, the individual cells moving to the northeast at 40. The whole area is moving eastbound at around 30 miles per hour. Now let's broaden our view a little bit, and we can look further to the southwest, where some very intense thunderstorms taking place, some severe weather from eastern Texas all the way up into western Tennessee, though this radar doesn't show it, but there is some very intense thunderstorms just to our southwest, our neighbors to the south in Tennessee. Tornado watches until 9 o'clock from West Tennessee to eastern Texas. We've already seen 3/4 inch size hail across central Texas earlier this afternoon. Now, we're not worried about severe weather for us here, but we are worried about more rain that could add up to from 1/4 to a 1/2 an inch additionally to what we've already gotten across central Kentucky, and perhaps a 1/2 inch or more as you move to the south and to the east. When we take a look at the cloud covering, you might notice here the very bright white clouds across Texas into Arkansas heading into Tennessee. This is indicative of the intense thunderstorms taking place down in that part of the country. And it's all right along a cold front where we have some very moist, unstable air ahead of the front and much cooler and drier air behind it. And as the front continues to slowly make its way through, we'll continue to see the showers, perhaps some thunderstorms tonight. Our winds eventually shift to the northwest with the passage at the front, and that means cooler temperatures later on, and eventually the rains will end by late tonight and tomorrow morning. Now, tomorrow morning we can see the front bias already. Showers will be across extreme eastern Kentucky, but will end by the late morning hours, and some clearing will take place during the afternoon, a mixture of cloud and sunshine and colder temperatures as well. On Sunday, we have a disturbance up to the north that will keep some cloud cover around here, but the snows stay to our north. Of course, with the colder air, and then we have some warmer temperatures to look forward to by the beginning of next week. Showers will continue tonight, though some thunderstorms possible as well, and once the front passes through, our winds shift to the northwest. Cooler temperatures, too, down into the 40s. The rain ends early tomorrow, and then we'll see a little bit of sunshine mixed in with those clouds tomorrow afternoon, highs 45 to 50. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy and chilly, lows 30 to 35 degrees. And we're looking at a partly sunny day on Sunday with highs in the 40s, but look at the big warm-up coming up for early next week. We are back in the 60s on Tuesday before more showers and thunderstorms on Wednesday. But keep an umbrella handy tonight because we do have more rain.
All right. Poolside next week, Mark.
That's right.
That sounds good.
Tuesday. Invite me over.
Yeah.
Well, in California, a high school girl scored 101 points in the first half. Derek Miller scored 40 points in the entire game earlier this week.
Her whole team scored 102, though, so she didn't score every point. We'll tell you about that when we come back, and we'll talk with author John Feinstein. He has a new book for Evers' team about the '78 Duke Blue Devils.
Miracle ear. There's only one miracle for your ear.
Call today for your in-home hearing check, courtesy of the hearing aid professionals at Miracle Ear.
Miracle Ear.
He's not just another pretty pair of tights. He's more than a colorful superhero. He's Captain Color Time, adding color time to your life with specials like this.
Now you can rent to own fine jewelry at Color Time. Fancy diamond rings, 14-karat gold chains and bracelets, bridal sets, and more, starting as low as $7.95 a week. Call or visit the location nearest you now.
Hi, folks. It is a fact. February the 5th, industry-wide, all carpet went up 10 to 20%, but not at Jack & Jan's. For 1 week only, we will not raise our prices. This means a savings to you of at least $1 to $3 per yard. Nothing down, no payments until August, 6 months, same as cash. But to realize these savings, you had better step on it, because after Saturday, even at Jack & Jan's, you will pay more.
Jack says step on it.
The nation's most powerful supercharged alcohol burners roar into Rubberina. The big boys are coming this weekend, tonight and Saturday night at 8. Wild super modified two-wheel drives, ground-pounding super modified 4x4s, side-by-side monster trucks and monster tracks. Both nights demolition derby, crashing and smashing. Win a new Dodge truck from Freedom Dodge. Kids half price. Rubberina Lexington, the action-packed hot rod truck fall winter nationals.
Well, this is amazing. Lisa Leslie scored 101 points last night. Even more remarkable, she did it in just 16 minutes. Her Morningside High School team from Inglewood, California led 102 to 24 at halftime. No, she didn't score every point of their game against South Torrance High. 2 South Torrance players, though, fouled out before intermission. So South Torrance called it quits and did not return for the second half. The 6'5" Leslie certainly upped her scoring average, but she fell 5 points short of breaking the 105 points in a game record set by Cheryl Miller, former All-American at the University of Southern California. There was a girls' high school basketball record set last night, a national record by a Kentucky girl. Claire Fuller, a 5'1" junior from Feds Creek High in Pike County, set a new national record for three-point baskets made in a single game. She hit 13, eclipsing the old mark of 11, which she held since last year. Fuller hit 13 of 28 three-pointers against Elkhorn City. She finished the night with 46 points. Her team lost, though, 95-55. This afternoon in the quarterfinal round of the All-A tournament out at Memorial, University Heights and Caverna have advanced to the semifinal round tomorrow. Mark Sock will have a complete wrap-up of those 2 games in the next half hour. John Feinstein has written another outstanding book dealing with the human side of athletics. It's called For Evers' Team, about the 1978 Duke Blue Devils, a team that made it to the final game of the NCAA tournament, losing to Kentucky for the championship. Feinstein is a Duke alum, so this is his most personal book to date. We talked earlier today.
Very emotional book for me, Kenny, as you say, because I was going back into my own past. I went to school with all the guys on that 78 team. I was there when Bill Foster built the program really from shambles. People here in Lexington may not know, but in 1973, Duke tried to hire Adolph Rupp as the coach when Bucky Waters quit very suddenly, and Adolph was available, having been retired by Kentucky, and he was within 24 hours of flying to Durham to take the job when his farm manager died, and he couldn't take it, and Duke ended up with its worst record in history that season. So Bill built a program from nowhere to playing Kentucky 4 years later in the national championship game, and I was there throughout that period. And the guys on that team, Bruce Bell, who's here from Lexington, lives here in Lexington, grew up here, Tommy Bell's son, Jim Spinarkle, Gene Banks, Kenny Denard, Mike Chiminski, were all friends of mine. So to go back into their past as well as mine, it was a Boys of Summer type experience for me.
As we look back, and of course the 60s being remembered now with some TV shows, for example, some books on the 60s, that was a time, while certainly there were many things taking place, people becoming more conscious of the social issues, etc., and of course with the Vietnam conflict going on at that time, that there was still a time of innocence, a lot of idealism, and maybe perhaps, John, the 78 Duke team, wrapping up the 70s in college sports, maybe that was the last time that there was some still innocence in college basketball in particular.
I think that's a really good point, because innocence is a very overused word, but remember, 78 was a year before the Magic Johnson-Larry Bird final that catapulted college basketball into everybody's consciousness. The NCAA contract with NBC that year was worth $5.5 million compared to the $143 million it'll be worth next year with CBS. There was no ESPN. There was no USA Today. Duke had never been on network television until the tournament that year. Even when they were in the Final Four in the 60s, those games weren't on network TV. So it was a team that was allowed to develop quietly. Now, if you start out the season with a couple of hot freshmen, USA Today is there, ESPN is there, the networks are there, everybody knows you by the middle of December. Nobody had heard of Gene Banks and Kenny Denard. When they saw a black kid from Philadelphia and a white kid from rural North Carolina hugging each other with obvious affection after they won that Notre Dame game, I think the country was touched by that, and people were affected emotionally by that. And that's why I say in the book that that team was America's team before there was an America's team. But then, as I say again, as emotional as they were, they cried in the locker room after the Kentucky game, not because they lost the game, but because they knew an experience that they could never repeat was over. But after that moment that they had together, they couldn't keep it, because you can never keep innocence. And the next year it was all gone.
John Feinstein will be at Joseph Beth Booksellers tonight from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock signing copies of his book. You normally don't like to go on the air and say this is a great sports book, but the great thing about guys like DeFord and Feinstein and Kindred, they are great writers. They just happen to write about sports, and they write about the human side of sports, which I feel is very important.
Thank you, Kenny. Here it comes, finally, the news for which couch potatoes have been waiting. A study has found that too much exercise may be bad for your heart. Dr. Dina Dell has the story.
Women runners and women who work out a lot know that all their strenuous exercise may cause them to stop having periods. That fact is generally recognized in medical and fitness circles. Now it turns out that those women who stop menstruating may be at greater risk for heart disease. Researchers in Boston compared the cholesterol levels of women running and women who did not exercise. Of the 25 runners, 9 were no longer having periods because of the rigorous physical activity. Sure enough, the women runners who stopped menstruating scored worse than the sedentary women in measures of heart disease risk, including artery clogging cholesterol. What happens, we think, if we're not exactly sure, is that a woman does not produce as much estrogen when she's not having her period. And that estrogen balance in the body is very important for preventing heart disease. So while all the emphasis today on exercise and fitness is fine, women can overdo it. Exercising in moderation so that the period does not stop is probably the safest way to go. I'm Dr. Dina Dell.
Still ahead on Eyewitness News, hundreds of Whirlpool employees in Danville are wondering what their future holds after a troubling announcement concerning that plant.
Meanwhile, the families of Whirlpool employees in Mount Sterling are still reeling from the stunning blow that their plant will close.
And Governor Wilkinson is pulling the plug on his controversial television commercial.
Meteorologist Mark Stern says cooler temperatures make a comeback for the weekend.
And in sports, Kenny Rice takes a look at the quarterfinal rounds of the All-A tournament. These stories and more just ahead on Eyewitness News.
Tonight, it's DJ's first kiss.
Can you believe it? No.
Full house, then.
You're the most beautiful girl in the whole world. And I'm the luckiest guy.
Family Matters, followed by an all-new Perfect Strangers. Wow. And The Girls Find Paradise. On just the 10 of us.
Then, eating raw shellfish. The dangers may be worse than we thought. Protect yourself. Watch 2020.
Tonight on 36 WTVQ.
It's simple. Winn-Dixie gives you low prices nobody can beat. Nobody. On January 26th, we compared prices on breakfast cereals with not one, but 5 different stores. Now, some stores compare only selected items, the ones they're lower on. We compared 86 national brand cereals, and the results are clear. When you look at the bottom line, out of all 5 stores, nobody beat Winn-Dixie's low prices. Not Kroger, not anybody. Winn-Dixie, America's supermarket.
Driving Miss Daisy, winner of 3 Golden Globes, including Best Motion Picture, Best Actor Morgan Freeman, and Best Actress Jessica Tandy. Driving Miss Daisy, rated PG. Now playing at a theater near you.
Kick butts in 1990. You can do it. We can help. Call 1-800-4CANCER.
When the going gets rough, turn to 36 WTVQ for the latest winter weather updates and school closings. Don't be left out in the cold. Stay on top of winter with 36 WTVQ. 36 WTVQ Eyewitness News at 6 with John Lindgren and Sky Yancey. Meteorologist Mark Stern. Sports Director Kenny Rice, and the award-winning Eyewitness News team.
Good evening, I'm John Lindgren.
And I'm Sky Yancey. The bad news has been confirmed. Yesterday, we told you that Mount Sterling's Whirlpool plant was expected to shut down its operations. This morning, officials made the announcement that the company is definitely moving to Ohio. But along with that word came the stunning news that the future of Danville's Whirlpool plant is now in question. Eyewitness News reporter Dan Minnick is in Danville and joins us now live. Dan?
Sky, around 300 jobs will be lost here as Whirlpool moves 2 of its production lines to other facilities. Whirlpool officials say they'll try to sell their floor products line here, and that means the 600 or so jobs in that department are probably safe. The many Danville residents we talked with today say the town's economy will be hurt by the 300 jobs lost, but they say Danville will bounce back.
He said he could assure us that Whirlpool would not close the plant. They would continue operations until a buyer was found or some other arrangement was made.
That's what a Whirlpool official told Pendygraph today, and that's good news for about 2/3 of Danville's Whirlpool employees. Yet the 300 employees who will lose their jobs is what's concerning many Danville residents.
300 jobs is significant in the community, and they've been a very, very fine family of our industrial community.
Economical blow to the county and the city because they're going to lose a whole lot of revenue from it.
But many residents and business people are still optimistic about the future of their city.
Danville's a great town. It'll survive, and we just hope we'll get somebody that'll make it a bigger and better operation than what it was before.
I think I have to share that view somewhat. We have a great deal of diversity of industry here. We still have some very fine plants at the industrial park, and I expect they'll get a good buyer for this facility here.
Now area residents and Whirlpool employees will just have to wait to see how the selling of the plant goes and who the new owner will be. Sky?
So Dan, were you mentioning that Whirlpool will now be actively searching for someone to buy the plant, or in Danville economic officials will be also working alongside with them?
Well, the search has already begun for a new buyer. In fact, they may already have some leads as to who might want to buy this plant and take it over by the end of this summer. However, this is a private industrial park here, so the city won't have much of an impact on who the new owner will be.
All right, thanks very much, Dan. John?
Whirlpool announced today that its KitchenAid dishwasher plant in Mount Sterling will be shut down by early next year. The plant's closing will affect over 650 employees in Montgomery, Bath, and Menifee counties. As Sharon Morris reports, the layoffs will not only displace workers, but entire families as well.
Employees at Whirlpool's KitchenAid dishwasher plant in Mount Sterling received official notice today that the plant will be closed by the end of the first quarter of 1991. The announcement rocked the tightrope that many families walk to survive in the economically struggling Montgomery, Bath, and Menifee counties. Marjorie Manley of Owingsville in Bath County wonders now how her family of 6 will survive when her husband Roger no longer has his job at KitchenAid.
I don't know. We have large house payments and bills to make, and we'll have to find employment somewhere.
Marjorie worries more about how the layoff of her husband will affect their 4 children, Becky, Debbie, Buddy, and Rhonda. 17-year-old Rhonda had plans of going to college in the fall. Now she feels like her dreams of higher education may be washed down the drain.
So I was looking forward to going. So nowadays, high school diploma don't get too far.
Marjorie Manley cares for her 2 smaller children at home because daycare is so expensive. So she doesn't have a job. Jobs are scarce in their community, and she fears that they and other families in Bath County may even lose their homes.
I don't know. It'll be bad. Be hard to make it.
The impact will be felt by everyone in Bath, Menifee, and Montgomery counties. Sharon Morris, TVQ Eyewitness News, Bath County.
The Whirlpool announcement comes as Mount Sterling's second largest employer, A.O. Smith, is also cutting back.
A Lexington man was forced today to leave the building he had leased for the past 19 years. Ralph Smith, owner of Lexington Auto Body Works, was evicted from the building on Short Street today. The city needs the land for its proposed thoroughbred park. Smith claims that he was originally offered over $100,000 to cover his moving expenses, but when the city officially gave him an offer in December, it only totaled $39,400. When Smith refused to accept this offer, the city began eviction proceedings and revoked the $39,000 moving fee. Smith is now looking for a new building for his business.
A controversial television ad that was critical of the General Assembly has run its course, and Governor Wilkinson says he stands ready to talk with lawmakers. Capitol Bureau Chief Tony Hyatt reports tonight the stage is being set for another try at improved relations between the governor and lawmakers.
As long as I've talked about this time last week, this television ad was causing problems for lawmakers. The governor accusing the General Assembly of grabbing lottery money to do with whatever they please. The ad has now run its scheduled course, and according to the governor, it served its purpose.
It accomplished exactly what I wanted. It allowed everyone in this Commonwealth to know that I was trying in every way possible to keep my word to them. And I think I don't have any way of knowing what the number of responses were.
That news has delighted lawmakers who did not complain that much about the governor's spot this week like they did the week before.
I think it's a positive step. I think it's certainly a gesture that we appreciate on behalf of the governor. We never appreciated the idea of Carvel being in and the ads on television.
At the same time, leadership of the legislature has acknowledged the governor is trying to set up some kind of a dialogue to discuss issues in this session, and they are welcoming the move. In fact, next week, the General Assembly will be delivering its own State of the Legislature address.
But there will be nothing in that speech that will be confrontational. I think that speech will hopefully help to build a atmosphere that will result in General Assembly and the governor developing a working relationship.
Today, the governor says he's looking forward to that address, and he's also been trying to talk with all lawmakers and is convinced that the idea to increase the sales tax is now dead. And he's also concerned about one constitutional amendment that limits his powers on annual sessions. But he added his door is still open.
I'm here all day today. If any of you would like to talk about anything of any nature whatsoever today, I am here.
But such moves have been made before, and now it's wait and see what happens. From the Capitol Bureau, Tony Hyatt, TVQ Eyewitness News.
All this week in our special life planning series, we focused on financial fitness. Being financially knowledgeable is the building block to being financially comfortable. Consumer Watch 36 reporter Susan Parsons talks with a UK finance professor about money.
Most of us are familiar with basic financial terms, but the more you look into investing options, the more confusing it can be. UK finance professor Dr. Don Molyneux joins us now to hopefully clear it all up. What is perhaps the most confusing thing for people to understand when they first get into this?
Well, there are lots of terms that confuse people, like annuities and mutual funds and what have you, Susan. For example, a mutual fund is a way of investing in a piece of a large portfolio of stocks and bonds, and you get the benefit of diversification if you do that.
How can a virtual novice learn about this? Where do you go to get the kind of information you need to make smart decisions?
Well, there are courses you could take, but if you don't have the time for that, the easiest thing to do would be to read the financial part of the newspaper, particularly the Wall Street Journal or Business Week or magazines such as Money. Have a lot of useful financial information in them.
Throughout the week, we've heard a lot about financial planners. Who needs to go to them, and how do you choose one?
Financial planners typically are targeting people who have a fair amount of wealth to invest, anywhere from maybe $10,000 to $100,000. But if you're looking for a financial planner, you could rely on referrals. I think that's the way it's commonly done. But financial planners also have a designation such as CFP, means Certified Financial Planner. It means they've taken coursework.
So choosing one then takes some research as well.
It does take some research.
Okay, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
If you want more information about any of this week's life planning topics, you can pick up a free life planning brochure at any movie warehouse, First Security Bank, or right here at WTVQ. Tonight on our 11 o'clock report, we'll hear just how much some Lexingtonians know about financial matters.
Thank you, Susan. The rain came as meteorologist Mark Stern promised, but what about the weekend?
We have a little bit of sunshine ahead. You'll have the weather right after this.
Past couple of days. Right now, it is cloudy in Lexington. The temperature is 58 degrees. Humidity is 93%. Barometer is falling, and the winds continue out of the south at 5 miles per hour. Those southerly winds kept us very warm today with a high of 59 and a low of 53 once again. It was an above normal day temperature-wise across the Bluegrass region. Precipitation out of Bluegrass Airport amounted to about 0.28 inches, and our monthly total is a little over an inch, and that of course is above normal up to this point in February. And there's more rain on the way across central and eastern Kentucky. Relatively quiet right now, just some light rain taking place, but move west of the Lexington metro area and you can see the heavier showers and embedded thunderstorms in the dark green and the yellow shaded areas around the Bowling Green area. Thunderstorm being reported just west of Owensboro and around Paducah, and all its activity is charging to the northeast rapidly at about 40 miles per hour. So get the umbrellas out. More rain is on the way for tonight. And we could see up until tomorrow morning an additional 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rain across the central Bluegrass region, and a little bit heavier amounts possible towards the southeast. Now here's what's causing all the wet weather across the region. It's a cold front that's trudgingly making its way toward the east. It has already cleared the Paducah area, and to update this cold front a little bit since I drew it earlier, it has now just cleared the Covington area with some chillier temperatures. And once it passes through the rest of Kentucky, we'll see the wind shifting to the northwest and the temperatures start to cool down, and eventually by early tomorrow morning the rains will end as well. Temperatures right now are still quite mild across central and east Kentucky with readings in the mid and upper 50s. As I mentioned though, it's cooler up to the north in Covington at 51 and out to the west in Paducah at 46 degrees. And this cooler weather will make its way into the rest of the state later on tonight and over the weekend as well. It's going to be quite cool compared to what we've had over the past day or two. High temperatures will be in the 40s. All the wet weather will make its way toward the east of the Bluegrass state, so we will see a mixture of clouds and sunshine through most of the Ohio Valley, but once again the temperatures will be a little bit cooler. Up to the north on Sunday, another weather disturbance makes its presence felt, and of course with the colder air we'll see some light snow possible with highs in the 30s, 40s for much of the Bluegrass state under partly sunny skies. The forecast for tonight, showers continue. Thunderstorms are possible with this cold frontal passage. Lows will be in the 40s. Tomorrow the rains end early and then we'll see a little bit of sunshine by tomorrow afternoon. Highs will be cooler from 45 to 50. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy and chilly with lows in the lower 30s. And we'll see partly sunny skies again on Sunday and warmer temperatures for early next week. And we will see 60-degree weather once again for Tuesday. What a crazy February this has been.
Sure has.
Strange year, actually.
Yeah, it sure has. Nice and mild, though. We like it.
Like that. Thank you, Mark. Well, he's been called the psalmist of the mountains.
He's 83 and will have another book coming out later this year. Coming up, a story on Appalachian author James Still.
today's show, Bashed Borscht. Begin with Reynolds' new Sure Seal sandwich bag. Add 5 beets, 1/2 cup cream, seal the bag, and bot the beets. Oh, baby, bot the beets. Oh, baby. Voila, Bashed Borscht. No other sandwich bag can do that.
They're the toughest plastic bags ever built. New Sure Seal bags from Reynolds. It's Reynolds Sure Seal or bust.
Next week, stomped steak.
You can't sell thousands of Sealy flotation mattresses and not get paid for a full year.
Our accountants begged us not to do it. But we told them all we're going to do it anyway. This weekend only buy any bed or bedroom group in any one of our superstores with any Sealy water mattress and make no payments for 1 full year. That's 52 weeks, 365 days, 12 months, 1 full year. But hurry in, because this offer is good only as long as this guy stays tied up.
Nicholasville Road, Lexington, Glenview Plaza, Fredensburg. It's the best way to change your oil.
Welcome.
It's fast. It's complete. And it's guaranteed. VALVOLINE Instant Oil Change. People who know what they're doing.
For Valentine tricks and treasures, the front porch has the widest selection. Fun gifts for all your sweethearts or that special Valentine. Visit the front porch in Chevy Chase, Tate's Creek Center, and Festival Market.
You're watching 36 WTVQ Eyewitness News with John Lindgren and Sky Yancey.
50 years ago this week, James Still's first novel was published. River of Earth helped establish him as one of the foremost Appalachian authors. In honor of the anniversary of the River of Earth, Morehead State held a reception in Still's honor. James Still spent some time during the 60s as an English professor at Morehead State, and the library there has dedicated a room to him. It's full of memorabilia of Still's illustrious career. He was born in Alabama, one of 10 children. He came to the Hindman Settlement School in Knott County as a librarian in 1932. He's always been interested in writing and books.
I wrote a short story when I was 9, I remember, still have it. And I could have, when I saw that, I read it after all these many years. After all, I'm 83 and a half at this moment, you know. How great many years ago, and it still exists, and I could have known then, looking back, that I was fated to write some more.
River of Earth is the story of a mountain family and their lives in and out of coal camps, as seen through the eyes of a young son. When the novel was published in 1940, a review in Time magazine called it a work of art. That day, February 5th, was a day to remember. While in Jackson, Kentucky, waiting for a train, Still saw a deputy sheriff shot down. He wrote Time about the experience. His letter to the editor was published under the headline of Bloody Breathitt. He said he was not welcomed in Breathitt County for some time after that. Still has traveled quite a bit through the years, but always finds his way back to Dead Mare's Branch, to his cabin in Knott County.
Everybody's somebody in Appalachia. In the cities, you get lost, you get homogenized, you lose your identity, I think. But up there, no matter, for better or worse, and it's sort of a class-less society. Everybody is just as good as anybody else. And that's the way we feel about it anyway.
The University of Kentucky Library will be holding a special celebration of James Still and his work on April the 3rd in Lexington.
I like that. 83 and a half. He's very specific on his age.
Still working.
Still working, right. Kenny Rice is here now, and we've got a lot of basketball and high school ranks coming up tonight.
That's right. 2 more games tonight. 2 games this afternoon. The quarterfinal round of the All-A tourney. We'll have highlights. Mark Sock will have a report on the game after this.
When the business tells you it does the biggest volume, has the lowest prices, and the best service, it's understandable if you might be a little skeptical. The fact is, this is exactly what Powell Optical has built its reputation on for over 37 years. They are the #1 optical outlet in Central Kentucky. Their prices really are the lowest, and you won't find better service before or after the sale than at Powell Optical in the Lexington Mall. Find out for yourself why they're #1.
This is a bold offer from Curtis Mathis. For the next few days, 99 cents will deliver and pay the first week's rent on a VCR, television, stereo, washer, dryer, even a microwave oven. There are no strings attached, no deposit, no credit required, and no long-term obligation. Call Curtis Mathis right now, and you'll get your choice for only 99 cents.
Hi, folks. It is a fact. February the 5th, industry-wide, all carpet went up 10 to 20%.